All right, let's dive deeper into the latest developments in the legal drama surrounding former President Donald Trump. So, just recently, U.S. Special Counsel Jack Smith made a significant move by filing what's known as a superseding indictment in the ongoing election interference case against Trump. Now, for those of you who might not be familiar with the term, a superseding indictment essentially updates or replaces an earlier indictment, usually in response to new evidence, legal developments, or in this case, a major ruling from the Supreme Court. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Now, this new indictment is particularly interesting because it narrows the focus of the allegations that were initially brought against Trump. It's almost like a strategic recalibration in response to some recent legal hurdles, specifically a Supreme Court ruling that dealt with the complex issue of presidential immunity. So let's unpack that. The Supreme Court's ruling is really at the heart of why this new indictment looks different from the original one. Last month, the court made a significant decision that essentially stated that Trump, as a former president, is entitled to a certain level of immunity for actions he took while he was in office. However, and this is the critical part, that immunity doesn't extend to actions he took as a candidate, meaning the things he did while running for re-election in 2020 are still open to legal scrutiny. In light of this ruling, Special Counsel Jack Smith had to go back to the drawing board, so to speak, and rethink how he was approaching this case. The result, a superseding indictment that still maintains the core of the original charges, but removes some specific allegations. For instance, the revised indictment no longer includes claims that Trump tried to manipulate the Justice Department to lend credibility to his baseless claims of election fraud. This particular aspect was one of the more controversial parts of the original case because it touched on the sensitive issue of whether a sitting president could use the powers of the office to influence an election. So why does this matter? Well, it shows how the Supreme Court's ruling has forced the prosecution to be more precise in its accusations, ensuring that they align with what the highest court in the land has determined is legally permissible. This kind of recalibration is not uncommon in high-stakes legal battles, especially when you're dealing with the unprecedented situation of prosecuting a former president. But this isn't just about the election interference case. The Supreme Court's ruling could have ripple effects on other legal challenges Trump is facing. Take, for example, the case in Florida, where Trump is accused of taking classified documents from the White House when he left office and then resisting efforts to return them. If the courts apply the same logic from the Supreme Court's recent ruling, they might have to consider whether Trump's actions related to those documents fall under the scope of presidential immunity, or if they were simply the actions of a private citizen who no longer had any official powers. What we're seeing here is a complex legal chess game where every move, every ruling can change the trajectory of these cases. The stakes are incredibly high, not just for Trump, but for the future of how the legal system handles former presidents. So it's a rare and challenging situation that could set new precedents for years to come. So as this unfolds, it's crucial to pay attention, not just to the headlines, but to the legal arguments and strategies being employed. This isn't just about looking back at what happened in 2020. It's also about shaping the future of American law and the boundaries of presidential power. I'll be keeping a close eye on this and breaking it down for you as things continue to develop.